Hey everyone, let's talk about Bollywood. You see the glamour, the perfection, but what if I told you a lot of it isn't real? Today, we're pulling back the curtain on how that perfect look is really created. You know the look, right? You're scrolling through Instagram, you're watching a movie, and bam, there it is. Flawless skin, perfectly sculpted bodies. It's an image of perfection that feels, well, almost superhuman. And you can't help but wonder, how is that even possible? I mean, we've all been there, right? Thinking, wow, I wish I had her nose. Or, man, I wish my body looked that perfect. We're kind of programmed to think this is all natural, a gift from the gods. But here's the twist. What we think is God-gifted is, well, more often than not, it's actually doctor-gifted. Yep, the big secret behind so much of this so-called timeless beauty isn't amazing genetics, it's cosmetic surgery. And that's exactly what we're going to break down in this explainer. All right, let's dive right in. We're going to start by uncovering the secret behind this massive, multi-billion-dollar industry. An industry that's built on an illusion of perfection that, let's be honest, can make the rest of us feel pretty insecure. And the scale of this whole thing, it is absolutely staggering. Get this, it's estimated that over 90%, 90 of actors and actresses in Bollywood have had some kind of cosmetic work done. So at this point, it's not even the exception anymore. It's basically the norm. And we're not just talking about one or two things. The list of what's available is huge. You've got nose jobs, lip fillers, breast surgery, liposuction. There's the famous Brazilian butt lift, jawline sculpting, skin lightening treatments, and of course, Botox. It's like a whole menu of options, and it feels pretty endless. And hey, don't just take my word for it. Listen to someone from the inside. Actress Shruti Hassan, who has been super open about her own procedures, she puts it bluntly. She basically says that people's faces just don't change that much on their own. Coming from someone in the industry, that's a really powerful statement. Okay, so now let's get a little more specific. Let's take a closer look at what some of these doctor-gifted procedures actually are. Because, it's one thing to just hear the names, but it's a whole other thing to really understand what's going on. So rhinoplasty, you probably know it as a nose job, is one of the most common ones out there. And the goal is pretty simple, right? To change the shape of the nose. But they do that by actually altering the bone and cartilage underneath the skin. And the process itself, it's pretty intense. I mean, a surgeon literally lifts the layer of skin off the nose. Then they file down or sometimes even cut the bone. They'll trim and move the cartilage around, and then they drape the skin back over this brand new structure. It's incredibly invasive. So, ever wonder how some actors look completely wrinkle-free at 50, even 60? Well, a lot of the time, the secret is Botox. It's actually a neurotoxin that paralyzes your muscles for a little while to smooth everything out. But here's the key thing to remember. It's temporary. That means you have to keep going back for injections every few months if you want to maintain that look. But here's where things get serious. Chasing this look isn't just about money. It's a really high-stakes gamble. Because behind all that glamour, there's some very real and sometimes life-threatening risks that people don't talk about nearly enough. Let's talk about the Brazilian butt lift, the BBL. Basically, a surgeon takes fat from one part of your body and injects it into your buttocks. It's gotten super popular, but it also has this terrifying title. It is known as the single most dangerous cosmetic surgery in the world. So just how dangerous are we talking? Well, the chance of dying from a BBL is about 1 in 3,000. And to put that into perspective for you, about half of those deaths happen right there on the operating table. That is a shocking, shocking risk for a surgery that's completely elective. And look, these risks aren't just abstract numbers. They happen to some of the biggest stars on the planet. Take Priyanka Chopra. Early in her career, she had a nose job that went wrong, so wrong that the bridge of her nose actually collapsed. It almost completely derailed her career before it even got started. She's talked about it since, calling it a dark phase in her life. It wasn't just that her face changed. She was dropped from 3 different movies, and she says she went into a deep depression. It just goes to show you the devastating toll, both physical and emotional, that this stuff can take when it doesn't go as planned. Okay, so let's zoom out a little bit, because the problem here isn't just about the risks to celebrities. The much bigger issue is the insecurity epidemic that these totally fake beauty centers create for everyone. And this is a real thing, it's not just a hunch. A study in Coimbatore looked at over 1,200 college girls, and what they found was just staggering. 77% of them were not happy with their bodies. That is the real-world impact of trying to compare yourself to an impossible ideal that's literally been created on an operating table. And in the most extreme cases, this kind of dissatisfaction can actually spiral into a serious mental health condition called body dysmorphic disorder, or BDD. This is where a person gets completely obsessed with what they see as a flaw that to other people might be tiny or not even there at all. It causes so much distress that it can completely take over their life. And what's really wild about all this, the perfect look everyone is chasing is a moving target. It's always changing. Think about it. In the 40s, it was that classic Hollywood glamour. Then in the 2000s, it was all about being size 0. And today, it's the Instagram face that you see everywhere. So the most important thing to get here is that trying to surgically change yourself to fit today's standard is just pointless, because tomorrow, that standard is going to be something totally different. So if that's the problem, what's the solution? Where do we go from here? Well, that brings us to our final thought. Maybe it's time to redefine what real beauty even means and to rediscover the power of just accepting ourselves. You know, the philosopher Osho really nailed it. He basically said that these beauty standards are like a kind of psychological trap, designed to make us feel bad about ourselves so we're easier to control. He believed that real beauty, true beauty, comes from the inside. It's not about changing your face. It's about accepting the one you have. So here's the takeaway. The next time you're scrolling and you feel that little pang of insecurity, just stop and remember, what you are looking at is not real. It's a cocktail of surgery, filters, professional editing, and now even AI. The genuine beauty you see in your friends, your family, the people around you every day, that's infinitely more real and valuable than anything in that manufactured online world. And that really leaves us with one final big question to chew on. If this standard of beauty that's being sold to us is so obviously fake, then what is truly beautiful? Maybe the answer is something each of us has to decide for ourselves. Thanks so much for joining me.